Who wants an Arcade1up without a lit marquee? Not this guy. All right guys, let's waste no time and roll right into it. So the first marquee I want to show you is by Arcade Game Factory. I really like this marquee. It is one of my favorites as far as ease of installation and the overall quality. So I'll show you really quick what this actually is. So it's really just a piece of acrylic. So you can see as I flip it around, it's a piece of acrylic really. And how he's got this configured is this artwork that you see right here is behind a plexiglass panel. So what you have here is you have the plexiglass panel, then you have the artwork sandwiched in between that and the piece of acrylic. And then what he's done is he's put these two metal pieces on the top and the bottom, and that actually holds this plexiglass panel onto the back of the acrylic. So if you buy this with graphics, it comes exactly as you're seeing it right now. If you buy the one without graphics, if maybe you want graphics that he does not sell, so what you do is you just order this as a clear panel and all of this comes separate and then you put it together. It's very, very easy to put together, but if you want one of the ones that he has, it comes all fully assembled like this. So you're probably wondering, I see no way to light up the marquee. How does that work? So what he does is he ships it with this LED bar. And I've seen people configure this and place this in various different places in the cabinet. And I'll show you where I tend to put it. But this is the LED strip he gives you. The nice thing about it is on the end of the cable here, your Arcade1up power supply goes into this. And then this little Y cable, one part goes to the switch to the marquee light and the other part goes to the Arcade1up PCB. I'll show you this on an actual cabinet that has it installed later, but I just wanted you to know what you're gonna get in the box. And then on the other end of this, you're gonna have a switch. This switch can be mounted somewhere in the 1UP cabinet so you can turn your marquee on and off. So depending on if you want it to be off all the time, you could just go off and turn it on as needed, or just if you want to turn it off at any point in time. So it's pretty easy. You would just drill a hole to accommodate this, and then you'd stick it somewhere on your cabinet. So the one thing I will say with this is this model that I have right now, if you notice, it has a clear bottom. So you get a bunch of light bleeding out of the bottom of this. He's actually corrected that now. He calls it the Blackout Marquee. I'm assuming, I haven't seen that one or ordered that one yet, but I'm assuming there's a black strip right here. So I've actually made my own on one of my cabinets. I just put some black duct tape to block the light from coming out. Some people actually think it looks cool shining on the cabinet, so that's really a personal preference and up to you. So where do I put the LED strip? So typically where I put it is on the back of the marquee. You take this off, it's just like a double-sided tape type of a thing, and you just stick it right there. I've noticed that it gets very even light distribution right there, and it looks great. It looks fine. So you can also put it in the cabinet like this, facing out. I notice that's not good because some of the light actually gets blocked. So I think right here is a perfect place. I've played with it in different positions. You know, you can decide, but that's the one that I find looks the best and gives the best light distribution. Okay, so how do you install it? It's really simple. So you take out the old marquee, and then if you look, there's actually, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show you this, but how it works is there's two screw holes that actually screws that go on each side of this, and they actually screw into the side of the Arcade1up. So you actually don't use, on the stock marquee, there's two screws right here on either side that go through the monitor panel into this. That is not required on here. So you actually really can just slide out your old one and put the new one in. Some people like to take the cabinet apart to do so, but this one is honestly the easiest one to install out of the two I'm going to show you. And now I'll show you the next one real quick. All right, so we are ready for the next marquee. So this one is going to cost more than double the price of the one I just showed you. Now, this one is all handcrafted, so you'll see it is all handcrafted wood. And you'll notice that it has an actual light box. So instead of having the light shine up at it, this actually contains the light inside the system. So it's kind of interesting. I'm going to remove the graphics so you can see better inside it. So this graphics will come out. So you can see it's a much more elaborate design and actually more like a traditional marquee in a way. So I'm gonna put the graphics back in, and I wanna talk you through a couple things, because this is not in my mind, you know, it's not a knock on the company. I think the product is really nice. My only thing with it is a lot more complicated to install. So what do you get in the package with this? So he does send it with a traditional, it actually comes with an LED strip that you can actually use and change the colors and all stuff like that. So it's more robust in the sense where I can't do that with the other one. It doesn't have that capability. So he does send it with this. So I mean, you can, you know, change the colors, you can make it brighter or more dim, you know, so that's kind of neat. The other thing that's kind of a creative thing that they add in this, and the company for this is actually called Oasis Creations out of Kansas. But and this is an item available on eBay, actually. That's where he sells it. But this is actually a battery pack. So if you want to run it off of batteries and you don't want it to be plugged into power at all, you can do that. And it's got a little on and off switch on the side. So kind of interesting. I wouldn't personally use this, but I do think it's a nice touch that it's included. It does have a manual, and I will tell you, this one is a lot harder to install. So the level of effort on this is higher, because I mean, I've been able to install the Arcade Game Factory one without taking the cabinet apart. This one, you really do need to take one side off the cabinet. So you can see it's a lot more involved. You do have to drill holes. And you know, honestly, the cost is probably going to be the thing that will prevent a lot of people from wanting to get this one. So it was more complicated, I'll tell you. And you know, but you'll see it looks really nice. So that's the thing. I mean, you're going to have to spend a little bit more. Now, is that worth it to you? I don't know. That's going to be up to you. And I'll show you both, and you can kind of decide so which one makes sense for you. It does come with that same kind of Y-type connector, so you can wire it right into your 1UP power, and then, you know, one of these can go to the PCB and one of these can go to the marquee. So these are great options, but like I said, guys, this one is definitely a lot more expensive. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you both of them. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be an installation video, but I am going to show you both of them on the cabinet, just so you can kind of see what do they look like, and you know, is this something that I would consider paying a little bit more for. The one thing I will tell you is I don't have the Mortal Kombat one hooked up to the cabinet right now. I have the Final Fight one, so you'll be able to see that. And I actually have many of the Scott Evans marquees. I've done a lot of them with that particular marquee, so you'll see a bunch of those as well. So hopefully you'll get a good gauge as to which one you like and which one you think looks better. All right, guys, here is the Arcade Game Factory marquee, the first one we looked at. So it's not turned on right now, and if you noticed in the video, there was that switch. I put it right here. We'll flip this thing on really quick, and there you go. So the things I was talking about that you need to be aware of, the light bleed from the bottom. Now, in all fairness, Scott has a blackout, or Arcade Game Factory now has a blackout option. I think that's the only one they're selling now. So that will eliminate this light bleed. Now, some people think it looks cool if I back up. It shines some light down on the front panel, and maybe you have some nice graphics around your bezel. So that could be kind of cool. That's a personal preference thing. If you don't like that, then, you know, you have to deal with it probably. But the other thing that you'll notice is there is a little bit, those two screws that screw in on the side do bleed through a tiny bit. You can kind of see some shadowing. It's not a big deal to me. Most people don't even notice it. But if you're super OCD and that's all you're gonna see when you look at this marquee, then maybe the other one is a better option for you, but just know you're gonna spend a little bit more money on that. All right, guys, here we go. Let's check out the Oasis Creations marquee. So I'm gonna turn it on for you real quick right there. You're gonna notice there's some almost refresh rate lines on the screen. That's actually the refresh of the LEDs, and the camera's picking it up. You will not see that on the naked eye. So the one thing you'll notice about this is the light distribution is really good. It's actually better than the other marquee we just looked at. So, but is it worth that extra price? That's going to be up to you. Some people like the wood touches of it. It looks really nice on the cabinet. It looks great from afar, and like I said, that light distribution is probably the best I've ever seen. I think the other thing to consider with this one is that it was much more difficult to install, so that is going to have to be a factor when you make your decision. All right, well, let's do some final thoughts and we'll wrap this up. All right, final thoughts time. So I brought my son Tanner with me to help me out.
Hi.
That's Tanner. He's 11. He likes soccer and Fortnite, but we won't hold that against him because Fortnite's super cool, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, so Tanner's holding the Arcade Game Factory one, Marquee, and I'm holding the Oasis Creations one. I gotta say, you've heard a lot during the video, and this one's just really expensive, and we can't afford this expensive stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Alright, so you heard Tanner, he said it's too expensive. But yeah, this one's $50 and this one's about $130. So honestly, that kind of makes the decision for me. But if you're into like the wood outlines and you know maybe the light box appeals to you, then maybe this is the way to go, but it's really expensive and it's harder to install. So I say the clear winner is the one Tanner's holding. And I didn't just do that because he's my son. It is the better one in my opinion. Any last words, Tanner?
Bye.
That's it?
Yep.
Just buy.
Bye.
Nothing else. Like you're not gonna floss or anything cool?
Nope.
All right, that's it.